buckle up. We are in for a ride today. Hi friends, welcome or welcome back. I'm MC, a knit and crochet designer from Connecticut, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Blame the Knots, on my website blametheknots.com, or here on YouTube where you can get to know me a little bit better. It has been quite a while since I sat down to record. Everything that you've seen lately was super pre-filmed, so it has now officially been a month since I sat down to record one of these. I actually did record this whole episode last week, and something happened to the audio, and I just personally was not okay with posting it with the crummy audio, so we're doing it again. And I've also been really sick lately since we got back from our trip, so it's probably for the best that last week's episode didn't make it out onto the internet. You're going to be getting a much happier and awake version of me this week. But I still am dealing with a little bit of the residual effects of that sickness, so I will do my best to make sure to cut out any sneezing or coughing or anything that I have to do. But at least to myself, I think I still sound pretty congested. I don't know if that will come through or if you even know me well enough to be able to tell. But yeah, if I sound funny, that is why. Okay, we have a lot to talk about today, and to be honest, I think what I'm probably going to do is record until my battery dies, and then probably record some more tomorrow. So you might get two different versions of me, or me in different outfits, because I have a lot to talk about. Like I said, it's been a month, so there is a lot of knitting to talk about. There is a lot of reading to talk about. There is an entire trip that I need to talk about. So I think I will probably do, let's see, I think I'll do like all my knitting stuff and reading today maybe, and then I'll do an entire video just dedicated to the trip next week, and we can talk through everything that we did there, because I know some people would like to hear about our trip. All right, so let's get into what I'm wearing. I am wearing the Allison cardigan, and this is my own design, and it will be releasing next Saturday, September 30th. I did decide to push the release back a week because I was traveling and then sick, and I just couldn't get my brain around doing a release this week. This is made with Lion Brand Vanna's Choice. I used the color Oatmeal for my main color, and I have done my embroidery in the color Chocolate. And this is based off of the cardigan that the character of Allison wears throughout the movie Hocus Pocus. So we are getting really close to Hocus Pocus season, so I'm hoping that with this release on September 30th, everyone can cast on. This works up really quickly because it is a heavy worsted or Aran weight yarn, and maybe by the time Halloween gets here, a lot of people will be able to have their nice cozy cardigans. I am also wearing my Musu Bay shirt that my husband got me for maybe my birthday, I think. It was after our trip to Hawaii last year. I am not a super fan of musubi, but my husband loves it, and the shirt is very cute. So yeah, that's what that story is all about. Okay, I have quite a few exciting things to talk about today, and the first thing that I just caused an avalanche. The first thing that I need to talk about is my Ascent. And this, I am horribly unprepared. Hang on.
definitely thought I was all ready, and then I just realized I don't have.
This is Ascent by Valentina Consalvi, and it is a nice long sleeve sweater that has been hibernating in my whip basket for a very long time because I have decided to make this with Loop Fiber Studios Yin Yang worsted yarn, and it is a non-superwash weight yarn. And no, wait, that doesn't make sense. It is a non-superwash wool yarn, and it is very warm, which is great in the wintertime, but as soon as it started warming up around here, I had to put it aside because I just couldn't bear to work on it anymore. This is, let's see, let's talk a little bit about some stuff. I was right here before this last color work section when I put this away for the spring and summer. So I picked it up, I did that last little bit of color work, and then I split for the front and back. I did the whole yoke, I guess, and the sleeves. I just finished my second sleeve earlier today, binding that off. So now this is done, all the ends are woven in, and I just have to block it. I did, so basically this has some pretty straightforward color work, right? You can see that there's not like a lot going on, but there are some times where I think you get up to like 19 stitches in between colors. So some more experienced knitters were saying in their project pages on Ravelry that it was a pretty long distance to go without catching floats or doing something to help with that. So some of them did ladder back jacquard, some did like change the pattern completely and did it in intarsia. I did Armenian knitting, which is basically every 2 stitches you're twisting your yarn. So you would knit 2 stitches, twist your yarn, knit 2 stitches, twist your yarn. And it's very helpful if you can twist one way, knit your 2 stitches, and then twist back the way that you came from, so then your yarn doesn't get tangled up. I sometimes was successful at that and sometimes not. This is my first color work project that I've ever done, and I think I've learned that I'm not really a color work fan. But it was still fun, and I'm glad that I tried it. And I will link the tutorial that I used for the Armenian knitting down below because I'm probably not doing the best job of explaining it, and I didn't do the best job of executing it either. I will show you what it looks like on the inside. So this is what it looks like when you do the twisting every 2 stitches. And someone that's done this a lot, it would probably look better, but I think it's fine. And I think that from my experience using this yarn, it blocks beautifully. It really loosens up and gets super soft and squishy. So I don't think my color work sections are too puckery. I mean, they're not the best, but also I had this jammed in a bag for several months, so it's probably just wrinkly to begin with. But I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that they might loosen up with blocking and things won't be too tight as I wear it. What else do I need to say about this? Okay, I was freezing before and now I'm getting warm in my cardigan. It's a very, very rainy, dreary day here, so I was chilly because the seasons are starting to change and I'm not used to it, but now I'm hot. Okay, one more cute thing to say about this is that my husband got this pattern for me and all of this yarn for Christmas last year. He picked everything out himself, and the way that Loop's Yin Yang yarn works is that all of the yarns come in pairs, and so basically like with one yarn it'll be mostly color A, and then it might have like one ply of color B wound through it, and then the corresponding yarn would be mostly color B, and it will have one ply of color A wound through it. So what my husband did is he picked out the top color and the bottom color of this sweater are corresponding. So I hope you can see that in the bottom it is mostly blue with a little bit of that plummy purple wound through. And then the top, which probably has cat hair all over it, is mostly that purple with a little bit of that bright blue wound through. And then the three colors in the middle, these are not necessarily all corresponding colors, but they seem to have the same or a very close like corresponding color that is wound through them. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but I just thought it was so wonderful, the thought that my husband put into this whole thing. And it's going to be the warmest, most toasty sweater in the wintertime. I'm not ready to wear it yet, but I think it's going to be great. So it is off to a block as soon as I am done with filming today, and then it is officially done. And one of my very long lingering whips is crossed off of the list. Next up, I have a maybe finished object. This is my Beachy Breezy Cardi by Knitting Tipsy, and I am kind of done. So basically what happened is I had a 50-gram skein of yarn. Did I? I think so, yeah. I had a 50-gram skein of mohair to work with for this, and so I knew it was going to have to be pretty cropped. I knew I was going to be playing yarn chicken the whole time. What I really wanted was to get full-length sleeves, but as I was doing the sleeves, I was measuring constantly, and I realized that I would get to like here on my arm. It would be like a really awkward length, which there's nothing wrong with like a 3/4 length sleeve, but it just wasn't going to work. It was basically going to end up so that the length of the sleeves would be like exactly the length of the body, and it was going to look funky. So I decided to stop at a short sleeve, which is fine, but I don't know. There's something, I don't know if it was my bind off or what. I'm hoping I can show it. My sleeves feel like they're kind of like wigging out a little bit, and I don't love it. If I put it on with like a full outfit, I kind of don't notice that about the sleeves as much, and it feels more natural, but I don't know. So I made the size 2 in this, and I'm wondering if I should maybe take out the sleeves and seam up the sides a little bit more and then pick up for a size 1 sleeve. But I still don't think I would get enough length to do a full length sleeve, and I don't really want to go through all that work if I'm not positive that I can do it, because it's mohair and I don't want to fight with it that much. So I think I'm going to, I still have my yarn attached to this. I think I'm going to give it a block. I did block it. I blocked the body before I seamed up the sides, and I think I'm going to block it one more time and see what happens to the sleeves. So if I like it, then it'll be done. If not, I will figure out something. But let me know what you think. If you think that it is fine the way it is, or you think blocking will fix it, or you think I should do something else. I don't know. Because I love it. I love this and I want to wear it. I want to make sure that this gets a lot of wear. I don't want to end up with something that I don't like. So it deserves to be worn, and I want to make sure that I can fix it or get it to the way that I want it to be. Also, I used Kingdom Fleece and Fiber Works, which is a Vermont dyer, and I believe they also have a farm and they process their own fiber as well. And it is this beautiful, what's it called? Like an army green-ish green with a lot of tonality through it. And it's really pretty. So yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts. I love this. I love the pattern. I love the idea of it. I'm not sure if I love what I've made. And I also hate knitting fine yarn on large needles. I've learned that, and so I don't really want to go back and fix any of this because I hate that experience. So yeah. If you have any thoughts, or if you maybe want to make me one that looks exactly like Chelsea's beautiful samples so I never have to do mohair on large needles again, let me know. Because her samples are so perfect. They're beautiful, and I just don't have it in me to get there. I just don't. But I do want to wear this, and I can't wait to see what happens after it's blocked. Next up is 2 new cast-ons. So if you have been following me for a little bit, you know that I really have lost my sock mojo, and I didn't want to take socks with me on our trip, although I knew it was for the best and probably the best decision because we were trying to fit everything into a backpack. Spoiler alert, the backpack worked wonderfully and we were successful. But I had to convince myself that socks were the best choice. Also, so we went to Norway first and then ended up in Copenhagen in Denmark and then returned home from there. But both ways, on the way out and the way back, we flew through Amsterdam. And those legs that took us into and out of Amsterdam were operated by KLM, which is, I think, Royal Dutch Air. And they, on their website, specifically say that needles and crochet hooks are not allowed. So that really helps me make my decision for what I wanted to bring in terms of projects. I was willing to risk it because we were flying several other airlines while we were there, and we were always like starting with a different airline before we got onto our KLM flight. But I still wanted to be respectful of their rules, so I was prepared to let go of my knitting if I had to. So I just brought a pair of socks. I only brought my 9-inch circulars, and I didn't have any problems, but I was ready to forfeit my needles if it came to that. So I didn't want to bring anything else just in case. I was willing to give up those 9-inch circulars, but that was about it. So yeah, if you ever are flying KLM, a good tip to know is that they actually state it right on their website that you're not allowed to bring needles or crochet hooks. We didn't have a problem, but you never know. So that being said, I convinced myself to cast on some socks, and I am almost done. This is a Lana Grossa self-striping yarn that I picked up, I don't know, we were out and about at some shop in our adventures one day, and I loved all the bright colors and I thought it was fun. So I picked it up, and it has been, boy, that just messed up the lighting of the camera. Yeah, so I picked this up. It has been sitting in my yarn closet for a while, and I figured it would be great to take along because I was I was pretty resistant to working on socks, so I thought self-striping would be the best way to go. So before we left for the trip, I cast on and I did like 2 rounds of the ribbing, and then I just went. I believe I got like, I would say like 2/3 of 1 tube done on our trip, and then I got distracted by some other yarn, which we will talk about later. But then when we got home, I was really sick, and just going around and around and around was about all that I could do. So I ended up getting both finished. These right now are just tubes with ribbing at the top and toes at the bottom, and I have to cut in for the heel. I have not had the mental capacity to do that yet because I also wasn't thinking at all, and I didn't mark anything on these for where I wanted the heel. So I can figure it out. It's just going to take a little bit more concentration to make sure that I'm getting it at the right place so that the heel and toe aren't like twisted off from each other. So I will do that soon. These will probably be done by the next time I talk to you. And all the information is on my Ravelry project page, but I pretty much always, when I do socks, I do just a regular long tail cast on, but I cast on over 2 needles so that it makes it nice and loose and stretchy, and that's perfect for me. I do 64 stitches. For these, I did 2x2 ribbing only for 15 rounds because I hate doing ribbing on tiny circumferences. And then I just went. I honestly stopped when I liked where I was in the color repeat and didn't feel like going anymore. There was no like number of rows that I was aiming for. When I did the second sock, I made the number of rows match, but I wasn't aiming for anything. I just went for like what I thought was pretty. And then I did a standard square toe where I just decrease on either side every other round, and that's it. I like to keep my socks pretty simple and not have to think too much about them. So yeah, that's that. Almost done, and hopefully I will maybe get a little bit of my sock mojo back thanks to that self-striping yarn. My next new cast on is something that I am so excited about. This is just something that I cannot put down lately. It's the best thing ever. I've never been happier. I'm so excited. This is, let's see, what is the right side? There we go. Let me get this random tail out of the way. Okay. This is my Brioche Adventure by Jonathan Tallow, and it's freaking amazing. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I can't stand it. It's so good. So I have had this pattern on my queue for a very, very long time. Ray from Needles at the Ready made one of these using I think a Dragon Horde Yarn and Yarn Cafe Creations advent, and it looked so fun, and I immediately put it on my queue. And then Long Dog Yarn released a Princess Bride collection, and I just felt like everything was coming together, and it was amazing. So there was a 10 skein mini set of all the tonals in the collection, and then there was a sock set that was part of the collection as well. So I got the sock set and the mini skein set with the intention of using them for Brioche Adventure. And then it has been sitting in my closet for like a year, at least, I think. So yeah, it was time. It just, oh my gosh. So somehow when I was sick, I couldn't handle doing a heel and a sock, but I managed to be okay with doing brioche. I don't know, whatever. My brain just needed that joy, and man, did I find it. So let's talk about the pattern first, and then we will talk about colors. So basically what happens with this is you have color A, and that is your, like the knit columns that show up on the right side of your fabric. And color B creates the knit columns that show up on the wrong side of your fabric. Then you move into your second section, and color B becomes your knit columns on the right side of your fabric, and you add in your color C, and that becomes your knit columns on the wrong side. And then you keep going throughout the whole shawl. It is such a freaking smart pattern, let me tell you. It is knit on the bias, but my dog just started dreaming, so you might hear her. So this is knit on the bias, but you don't have to worry about any type of brioche increasing or decreasing. The increases and decreases are done in a way so that you, they'll be ones that you're really familiar with from your knitting. You don't have to worry. Then each section is broken up by a little garter section. So if you are nervous about your brioche, if you are worried about what would happen if you dropped a stitch and you had to fix it, you have these, like, you basically have like checkpoints that you can go back to, right? So if you really, really wanted to feel extra confident, you could put a lifeline in at each garter section, or you can just drop back to your garter section and pick things up. So if you needed to, yeah, it would stink to lose a little bit of your brioche that you've put some work into, but you can always just drop back to that garter section, start again, and not have to worry too much about like a huge disaster happening if you mess something up. I did mess up in my third section. Hilariously, I made the mistake in the garter section, not the brioche. I messed up in the garter section, and then like all hell broke loose, and I was losing track of where I was and dropping brioche stitches, and it was a mess. I think I fixed it. I can't tell if I like actually fixed it or if I just fixed it good enough that you can't see it, but I can't see it, so I don't really care. So now let's talk about these colors. Okay. The sock set that came in this collection was called As You Wish, and it was this beautiful like tan neutral with green and plummy speckles. And then the mini skein that came with it was this solid. So I chose to use the mini skein as my color A for the first section, and then I'll show you this side because you can see it a little bit better. This is the, what's it called? The full skein from the sock set. And then what I decided to do is I put all of the mini skeins in the order that the character or quote comes up in the movie. So the first one that I put in order is called Princess Buttercup. It is this nice pale pink, this one right here. And it is, I just put it first because Princess Buttercup is, you know, in the whole movie. So I put it first, and also because I really liked the way that it played with the next color, which I need to look up because It's a long name. This is called This Is True Love. You Think This Happens Every Day. And it is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it justice. I've been trying to get a good picture of this. It's pink, but it's got like a peachiness to it. And it's really pretty and has a lot of dimension. So that is next. And I actually just finished my third section. So now this Is True Love, You Think This Happens Every Day is going to become my main color for section 4, and I'm about to add in this gray, which is Cliffs of Insanity. So cannot wait for that to happen. I'm so excited. After this one, we're going to dive into some like deeper tonals. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so great. It's going to be so perfect. I love it. I can't wait. This is just the freaking best project. I love it. Highly recommend. Amazing for beginner briochers as well. This is my first brioche project. I did like a section of brioche in a Stephen West shawl. A little bit, but this is my first actual brioche project. It's amazing. Oh, go make it. Please, definitely go make it. All right, that is all that I have been working on, but I thought that I would talk a little bit about the yarny things that I did in Norway and Denmark. Like I said, I think I'm going to do a whole video talking through the entire trip, but I figure some people that watch that video might not care as much about the yarny stuff, so let me put all the yarny stuff here, and then I'll just talk more generally about the actual vacation in that other video. So the first spot that we went to was Bergen in Norway, and we found this adorable little yarn shop. It wasn't that little, but it was actually in the train station, which was kind of cool. It was called Norwegian Spirit, and I will link all of these below, although some of their websites do not have English translations on them, so they can be a little bit hard to figure out, but I still would love for you to go support them if you feel like it. So this store was called Norwegian Spirit, and I was just blown away. It was so crowded. It made me so happy. There was a line, like we had to wait in line for like 10 minutes to check out at this store because there were that many people that were shopping. It was amazing. It just made me really happy that this yarn shop was getting so much business and that so many people were excited to be there and get new yarn and start new projects and talk to other knitters. Of course, I couldn't talk to a lot of them. It didn't seem like the staff at this shop was super confident in their English, which is fine. They live in Norway. So we didn't get to chat a lot, but it was still great. It made me so happy to see the store just like bustling like that. And also, I can't believe that I didn't think at all to take pictures or footage of any of the yarn stores that we went to. I took footage of everything else that we did, but I just got excited by all the yarn and I didn't even think to take any pictures of it. But in Norwegian Spirit, I shouldn't say we, I got some yarn. I know it is like a commercial brand, but I've never seen or been able to touch any Drops yarn. So I was like, ooh, I want to play with this. So I got Drops Sky. I got 3 colors of it. And let's see, I believe this is, I know the numbers are 0, 7, 11, and 17. But I'm not positive which one is which. I think this is 7, I think this is 11, and this is 17, but I'm not positive. So I got these 3 colors, and as you can see, I have already been playing with them. So this is an alpaca and wool blend. I think mostly alpaca. And it is very soft and squishy and lots of fun. And I got these colors because they really reminded me of Bergen, and in particular Briggen, which is a neighborhood in Bergen. I know it gets confusing, but it is a historical neighborhood and it is super cute. I'll pop in a picture of it because it's just the most quaint little adorable area. But I got these colors because, sorry, my needles are rattling. They really reminded me of being in Bergen because this kind of gray, gloomy sky / sea color is what we were surrounded by. It was raining all the time. And then the buildings had a lot of these like mustard and this like rich, almost like reddish toned brown color. And I just wanted to play. So I grabbed some needles from the store as well. These are, I don't even know what brand they are. Prim? Yes, these are Prim 4.5 millimeter US 7s. They are wooden. They were just the ones that I grabbed. I just wanted some needles that I could use to play with. So I have knit some stuff. I don't even know. This is like I did a slip stitch pattern with this blue. I have no plans. I might even take this whole thing out and start again and do something. I started to incorporate the brown next, but yeah, I don't know. I was going for like a big thick wrap, but it's clearly not going to be long enough. I don't think if I triple this, I will be able to wrap it around my body. So we might start again with this, but it's been fun to just play with it. This is like my 4th time undoing and redoing things because I just was playing as we were traveling and it was lots of fun. So that is what I got at Norwegian Spirit. And then another shop that we went to in Bergen is, bear with me, Modelstryk. I don't speak Norwegian, but I'm trying. I'm trying my best. I did try to learn a few words so that I could, say please and thank you and hello to people over there. But anyway, Modelstryk, I think, was a cute little shop in Bergen as well. This was one that like really felt super cozy, like just packed floor to ceiling with yarn, and had a really homey vibe. And I decided to get there. Okay, I have to listen again. Børstet. I got Sennesgarn Børstet. Darn it! Børstet. Børstet alpaca. Børstet alpaca. I'm trying. So this is an alpaca yarn, and it is listed as a bulky weight, but I think that's just because it gets super fluffy. But it is this really bright blue, and I think it's making my camera have a hard time focusing. There we go. The color, I have no idea. I think it is 6046. But the entirety of this label is in Norwegian. So, yeah. I think I'm going to do a hat out of this. I think that would be super cute. I want it to be something really squishy. So yeah, that is what I got in Modelstrik in Bergen. So yeah, all of these still sitting in my lap. Beautiful, beautiful representation MC, but this is what I got in Bergen. Oh, actually, I got one more thing in Bergen, but this is something that I'm like not really counting as a yarn purchase. I mean, it's yarn, but so this was at there's a fort in Bergen and a bunch of different places like halls and things that you can tour. And at one of them, I saw this needle binding kit. And unfortunately, I cannot find the instructions. I think my husband has them buried in his suitcase somewhere. So this is just a 100% Norwegian wool, just like a white beigey color. And it comes with this needle thing. And basically, this is another type of craft that is related to knitting, kind of pre-knitting almost, I think. I will find the paperwork that I have on it and let you know. Interestingly, I just saw that Kat Weaver, who is also known as Heather and Hops on YouTube, just did a video on this craft. So that's kind of funny. We were both in Norway, like not too far apart from each other, and both grabbed stuff to do this. So yeah, I have to learn. Initially, the staff, when they sold me this yarn, they only had instructions in Norwegian. And I was like, well, I guess I'll figure it out because I don't have any other way to tell me what to do. But they managed to find one last pamphlet in English, although now I have misplaced it. So I will find it. I will let you know more about the craft one day. But yeah, this is a fun new adventure that I will try. Probably, I think, over the winter. This feels like a snowy day kind of task. The last yarn related thing that I have, I got in Oslo, and we went to actually 2 locations of a shop called Fru Kvist. And the one, oh gosh, look. The one that I shopped at was the one in Grünerløkka, which was an adorable neighborhood. It's kind of like the hipster area of Oslo. And I got this project bag, which I thought was super cute. And it is, so let's see. So this is entirely in Norwegian, but at least you can see the Instagram account. So this is from Sella, I would say, the brand. And it looks like these are bags that are made in Uganda. And I would assume that maybe Caroline is the name of the person that made this bag. It's very well made. Mine is currently covered in fuzz from the alpaca yarn that I had in it, but it is lined and it is a really nice bag, so I like it a lot. I'm glad that I grabbed it, and I was getting a little bit nervous about the space in my bag and buying yarn, so a nice flat project bag was perfect. And I actually didn't make it to any yarn stores in Copenhagen. Our timing was just not right. Apparently, I'm not sure if this is like Denmark as a whole or just in Copenhagen, but apparently a lot of places are closed on Monday and they close early on Sundays, and we were there Saturday through Tuesday, so our timing was just off for getting to a lot of the yarn stores there. So unfortunately, I didn't get anything in Copenhagen, which kind of makes me wish that I had gotten more when I was in Bergen or Oslo, but I was so nervous about having space in my backpack that I didn't grab anything. And now I wish I had gotten more yarn because I had some room and I definitely could have brought more goodies home with me. One more quick thing that I want to show, just because I love books and it's just a part of me, is 2 books that I grabbed while I was over there. The first one I got in a little bookshop in Bergen. I will try to find the name of it. This was one that we just walked past and popped in. It wasn't on my list of places that I planned ahead of time that I wanted to go to, so I don't know the name of it. But this is, please read this leaflet carefully, and this is from a Norwegian author. So, yeah, it's a, it says it is a life told in reverse, and it is about someone that is dealing with chronic illness. So it kind of stuck out to me, and I liked the idea of getting a book from a Norwegian author while I was over there. So maybe one day soon I will read this and I'll let you know how it goes. And then the one souvenir that I did take home from Copenhagen is we went to the Design Museum, and it was so cool. I shared an Instagram post the other day of one of the exhibits that was at the Design Museum, and I have so many more to share with you. It was so cool, super inspiring, but one of the exhibits that they had was on craftivism. So, that's probably gonna be, there we go. I got the book, How to Be a Craftivist, The Art of Gentle Protest by Sarah Corbett. And there were a bunch of crafty projects on display at the museum. There was a video playing that was explaining what craftivism is. And then I decided to grab this book and maybe get some inspiration from it. So yeah, it seemed like it's not something that I'm going to be, sitting down and reading cover to cover in one go, but I think I will grab some inspiration and inspiration in a crafty and in an activism type way. So yeah, I'll let you know how it goes as I read this one as well. And now I think I am going to turn the camera off because I'm getting a low battery warning, and I will see you tomorrow for more of this episode. Okay, bye. All right, it's the next day, and I'm here to talk about everything that I have been reading lately. I have a lot. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 things to talk about. Sorry, I was knitting. I have some yarn sitting here on my lap. Let me get that out of the way. I have 9 things to talk about that I've been reading since the last time I recorded. So if this is not your jam, I just hit myself in the face. If this is not your jam, that is okay. Feel free to use the timestamps and move on from this portion. I'm going to try and go as fast as I can through all of these because we don't need to be here for 20 minutes with me talking about books. So let's get into it. I have a list over here next to me on my computer that I'm going to keep referencing because I don't want to be taking all of your time looking things up. So I'm just going to read off the list of what I read. The first book that I finished is The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. I've mentioned this on here before. This was about a scientist that works with cloning, and her husband steals some of her work and creates his own clone, and some things happen with that clone, and that's about all I'll say because of spoiling things. It was good. It definitely ended in a way that I I don't think I was expecting, but I enjoyed it. It's pretty it's pretty sci-fi heavy for a mystery suspense novel. Obviously, it's about cloning, so they talk about science. But it's definitely something that can be enjoyed easily by any reader. You don't have to be a science person to enjoy it. So I do recommend. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, but probably like 3.5. Yeah, I think so. Next up is Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. This is a short story novella, and I read this on the first leg of our trip when we were heading to Amsterdam. This was, I think, less than 100 pages, so it was a pretty quick read, and it is about a man who encounters a child and then suddenly cannot stop thinking about sour candy, and he is consumed with his desire to eat sour candy. And it was fine. I think it was well written, but I wouldn't say that it is a favorite of mine. Short stories are really hard for me. I feel like they have to like really knock it out of the park for me to really love them. So it was fun. I'm glad I read it, but I was left a little bit wanting in the end. It was creepy. Definitely pretty creepy if you're looking for a nice quick horror that will freak you out a little bit. Next up, things got a little bit lighter, and I read Dropped Dead Stitch by Maggie Stefton. This is, I think, book 5 in the Knitting Murder Mystery series. I have read several of these books before, but I read them out of order, and I just started reading them from the beginning so that I could get all of the story in order. There are a couple different groups that I know are doing read-throughs of this series, and I've been kind of like popping my head into multiple different read-alongs, but also not really reading at the same pace as everyone because I've read some of these before. But yeah, I liked this one a lot, I have to say. I think this one got into some pretty serious themes and really showed a lot of the humanity of a lot of the characters. This was probably one of my favorites. I really liked this one. Oh, I forgot to say my ratings. For Sour Candy, I gave that 3 stars. And for Drop Dead Stitch, I believe I gave it 4 stars. Next up, back to some thriller, mystery, suspense stuff. I went to 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. This has been on my list for a long time, and I listened to the audiobook of this on the way home from our trip. Almost completely finished it on the way home. This is about a person that works in a used bookstore, and he loves mystery books, and he wrote an article about 8 perfect murders from various fictional works. And it seems that someone out there in the world might be copying this list of the 8 perfect murders. And a lot of stuff happens from there. Not going to tell you much more. I think going into mysteries with as little knowledge as possible makes them even better. So I do recommend this one. I wasn't thrilled with the ending, but I get why the ending did what it did. That was just like my personal taste. I would have done something different, but it was definitely a good book. I would recommend this one for a read. Next, we have the only physical book that I read, and this is Only Human by Sylvan Novelle. I have mentioned this before, and I took a little break from reading this because of traveling and because I had library holds that came in. This is the 3rd book in the Themis Files trilogy, the 3rd and final book, and I think I stalled out a little bit reading this one because it was a bit more political than the other books, and it definitely had a reason for being political, but that's just not my preferred thing. I don't love it as much. So this one was a little bit harder for me to get through than the other two. All in all, though, I love the series, and I did really like this book. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I think the other two I gave 5 stars. So this one let me down a little bit, but I still loved it, and I still love the series as a whole and highly recommend. It is a sci-fi series about a little girl that falls into a hole when she is riding her bike one day, and she lands in a giant metal hand. And then it fast forwards to the future where she ends up being a scientist, and she is studying this hand. And the book goes into all kinds of things about where the hand came from, what this means for the human race. And it is an interesting format because it is told through interviews and like dossiers and diary entries and things like that. So it's a really fun series. Highly recommend if you like sci-fi. And then also relating to this, there are some little extra documents that the author has released as either prequels or little documents that are supposed to happen in between the novels. So I read file number 1743, which happens between book 2 and 3. That was fine, great, fun to get a little bit more information, but nothing like super special. And then I read file number 2491, which happens after the events of book 3. And it like made the whole series worth it. It was so good. It's just a couple pages long, and it made everything ever worth it. I just, oh my gosh, it makes me want more from this series, more from this author. Just, it was amazing. So let me know if you read this or if you like sci-fi at all. I definitely recommend, and they're not super long books. So I think each one was like around 300 pages. So it's not too heavy of a trilogy to get into if you want to dip your hands into some sci-fi. And I just realized how long I've been going on about this. Moving on. Okay, only 2 more left. We're almost there. Next up, I read Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I listened to this as an audiobook, and honestly, it was something that was a free option for me on one of the apps that I use, and I saw the cover and was kind of intrigued by it, so I grabbed it, started listening. I didn't know anything about it going in. I think I read a little bit of the synopsis, but I had never heard of it before. It is about a woman that lives with her husband and his mother, and unfortunately the mother passes on, and the husband believes that she is haunting the home. And this woman that is our main character is also dealing with some struggles at the assisted living facility that she works at. So this book is horror, but also like almost a satire. It's not for the faint of heart. There's some gross stuff in there. It is irreverent most of the time. It is funny if you have in-laws, although I love my in-laws, but there are some funny in-law tropes in there. It deals with a lot of heavy topics, so I would do your research before you read it and take a look at some reviews or read the full synopsis, because it deals with a lot of subjects that I don't know if everyone would enjoy. I think I gave it 3 stars because it was fine. Like, it was, I don't know. It wasn't my style, but it was well written. So, yeah. I didn't super love it, but I do appreciate what it was. Yeah. Okay, and the last thing that I just finished last night is How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe by Charles Yu. And this was fun. I don't think I have the brain capacity to explain to you what the heck happened in this book, but it is about a main character of Charles Yu, who is the author of the book, but he's also the main character of the book, and he has a time machine. Time machines are abundant in the world of the book. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I have no idea how to explain it. It was good, though. It really hit on some kind of deep topics that made you have feelings. Even though I could not explain to you anything about what any of it meant. So I think I gave that 3 stars as well. I really liked it, but I also couldn't tell you what the heck happened. So yeah. All right, that's it. That's all I got. I will refrain from saying any more because we've been here forever. So just a quick reminder that the Allison cardigan is releasing on Saturday, September 30th. And that next week I will be doing a video all about our trip to Bergen and Oslo in Norway and Copenhagen in Denmark. So if you have any questions or want me to make sure to touch on anything that we did, let me know, and I will take a look at the comments before I record and make sure to get in anything that you would like to hear about. Other than that, that's all I got. So take care of you. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.